co-op with your family? The price was too high. Dual shock, you say? The wallet doth cry. Third party you wanted, and third party you got. I did what I could, though my buttons worked not. Certified third party. Was this not enough? You gave me to your children to see if I was tough. Alas, I am shattered. Not so responsive, you say? I am Madcatz. You'll buy me anyway. Yes, you, youngest brother. Take me. You don't need an R2 button. You're terrible.
Welcome to the Region-Free Gamers Podcast, the podcast that's fluent in gaming. My name is Kelly, and I've taken the player one position on this co-op multiplayer extravaganza. Of course, what is an episode on co-op gaming without some excellent gaming partners? So today with me, I have a player two with Arnie. How are you doing today, Arnie?
I'm doing good. I'm assuming because I'm player two, my controller is like missing its analog stick and was like chewed by a dog or something.
Player two, not so much. When we get to player four, though,
fair enough.
I'm not quite sure on that one.
I have the like bootleg N64 controller.
That still works and has like the cool cooling pad thing and the fan inside of it. Oh yeah. And then of course we did have to break out our multi-tap so that we could have more than two players. Plugged in a third controller, and on that controller we do have Anthony today. Anthony, how are you doing?
BX. I guess the third controller, I had to just bring my own controller.
Yeah,
right. Like
you're the responsible one.
Yeah,
that carries his
I
own,
brought my
dedicated
own
controller.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be given this sidebar controller, this hoary. No, I brought my own.
Hoary, Madcatz, bro.
Oh,
I think we got money.
Oh yeah, that's right, man.
Madcatz.
This Patreon's going on my head clearly.
And then for player four, we had to go in the back of the cabinet, dig out that controller that's been sitting there for years that we're not quite sure if it actually still works, but we're going to try it anyways. With Paul on number 4, how are you doing today?
Great. Number 4? See, number 3 is the controller that gets chewed up by the dog and dropped in the toilet and the whole thing. Number 4 is in perfectly fine shape, but it's made by Madcatz. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Dude, those Madcatz controllers, like, I remember back in the day working at the game store, and, like, we couldn't just outright tell people not to buy them, but at the same time, I'm like, I know it's half price. I know it's so tempting. And it works. And I'm like, please don't buy it. But yeah,
people were legitimately sad when they went out of business recently.
Oh my God, did they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Oh, they did?
I owned one Madcatz accessory my entire life, and it was a DVD remote control for the PS2. It was translucent blue because it was so cool. But it wasn't even. It was like one of those where you had to plug in the like infrared like sensor onto the front of your PS2, so I could watch The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it
DVD.
is Madcatz. It has to be infrared.
Oh, of course.
Man, I thought really they turned it around too, because they'd been releasing arcade tournament like fighting sticks that were fairly well regarded. But man, like how do you overcome 20 years worth of like you're making garbage? I don't know. I don't know how you overcome that.
When they were making garbage, they were rolling in it. They were probably like like everybody I knew had at least one of these things, especially if you had like a sibling. Because, like, your parents weren't going to shell out, like, whatever the hell it was for another DualShock 2.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I had one. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one as well, and it was for the PS3. I got it for free. But it was one of those ones, It was a plug-in controller, so whenever I didn't have something charged, it was like the go-to controller. But it had a fan in it, and it had vents in it for all those, sweaty palmed gamers that game all the time. They were really feeding into the stereotype
amazing.
on that one.
So, because I was just about to ask you, like, controller with fan? Like, what is going on here?
I can only picture it as like the vent at a bowling alley before you go pick up your ball. You put your hand over it like you're a pro. You're like, I know what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. They have those? I haven't been to a bowling alley in forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm honestly excited to really hear everyone's picks today for the world of co-op gaming. But before we do get started, I do want to give a great big thank you out there to all of our listeners. We've been getting some great feedback from you guys through Instagram, reviews, and on our Discord. And we do love to hear about that. So if you're out there listening for the first time, or if you are a regular listener, we would love to hear from you. Just drop us a line on your platform of choice, or if you want, you can get a link to our Discord and join in our conversations that we have on there, from everything ranging from our absolute love of limited print copy games and trying to get those in our hands. And then, of course, we do have the conversations about those sports game things that
our most popular channel, honestly, right now.
Yeah, at this
like,
point,
as we record this,
course.
there's multiple playoffs going on. There's the Euro Cup. Like, that sports channel is just...
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We got the Olympics coming up.
Gaming,
good times.
sports.
Oh my
got it.
God, the Olympics. Like, yeah, I forgot all about that.
You know, I
That's
just
right.
saw a commercial for that yesterday. I was like, oh, that's still a thing. I forgot about
Yeah.
this, man.
These are
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
the most haunted Olympics since they're not going to have any fans in attendance.
Yeah, man. I
which-
think it's gonna
fair
be
enough.
It's gonna be a rough go. It's gonna be a rough go.
Hopefully the stands will be filled with those
fuck.
virtual,
Dude,
cutouts
if they just
of
had like
people.
a crowd full of Hatsune Mikus in the audience,
Dude.
it'd be worth it.
I was just about
Oh
to
my
say,
God.
like, if they just populated it with anime and video game characters,
I mean, why not, man? That would be awesome.
it would be the best Olympics ever,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
that would be the most unforgettable Olympics since, like, I don't know, Athens. Like, in the year whatever BC. I don't...
Did you guys, I don't know if any of you were watching football when it was playing last season, but I remember because all the Denver Broncos games in the crowd was just South Park character cutouts, like for every home game.
That's
brilliant.
See, that's what I'm talking
I
about,
missed
man.
that.
I didn't know that, though. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, Japan really has to do it now.
They got to
like,
step it
yeah.
up. They
Yeah.
don't care.
I'm sure they'll do something. I mean, I'm very excited for the opening ceremony. That's like 90% of the reason I'm going to watch this thing.
What's the over-under on whether Mario appears in the opening ceremony?
Oh,
It's not over-under, but like, what are the odds? I would say the odds are 1-1.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
They already didn't they use him in like their like announcement commercial when they like announced that the Olympics were going to be in Tokyo?
I think
or maybe
so.
it was this. There was like a warp pipe or something in it. So I'd say the chances are like 97%.
Yeah.
Man, he better be the one carrying the torch into the stadium.
God, dude, could you imagine? And like,
No,
they
it's
have
gotta
a
be. It's
trampoline
gotta
set up.
be. It's gotta be original Toho Godzilla. It's gotta be somebody in like the 1940s Godzilla costume, and then that's how they light the torch. He just breathes fire onto it.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, that's it. I tune in every day after that thing, man, just to see
King
what they're
Ghidorah
gonna
just
do.
like descends from the rafters, and they slap fight each other.
They should just make they should just have Pokemon
Oh my
Go be
God.
an Olympic sport at this point too.
People just
go
fucking
around
walking into
catching
each other, staring at their phones.
Yes.
No, very muscular people walking into each other, staring at them.
Oh yeah. They have to be in shape. They have to be in shape.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yes.
for R.I.P. for the old curling athletes. It used to be that curlers in like the 80s and 90s were like fat guys smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I
throwing
was
these
gonna say they were like chain smoking.
Yeah. But now they're in shape. They're in training. They're younger. I know.
Yeah,
It's not the
sucks.
same.
That was truly the death of the classic sport, was when you couldn't smoke.
Yeah.
It was in every sport: baseball players, basketball players, everybody.
Yeah.
I think I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day. I think that in order to return to the classic appreciation of sports, every steroid should be allowed and encouraged. I want to see like the Monstars step onto like every Olympic stage and just like destroy everything. That's what I want personally.
Well, this is like an age-old debate, right? Like, why not just allow all the steroids?
Everything.
But yeah, it's a slippery slope, right? As soon as somebody,
I want somebody to curl one of those rocks like into the stands.
Throw it out there. Yeah. Boom.
Anyhow, video games.
Oh.
Yeah. Back to video games, back to co-op games. I don't know about the rest of you, but this past year and a half really has made me go more into co-op games. Yes. Maybe it's just been getting stuck in the house a lot, online and in couch co-op games, both. I've just been doing so much more, and I do love it just because, for me at least, it helps me branch out into other genres. If anyone knows me as a single-player gamer, I'm mostly RPGs, platformers, visual novels, but when I'm thinking of another person that I'm playing with, they help me get the roguelikes in, just cooking simulators, all sorts of different games out there. So for me personally, my co-op gaming partner is my husband, so he is really into roguelike games and beat 'em ups, that type of gaming. So when I was looking for co-op games for the two of us to play together, I stopped with the games I liked, and I looked more into what he was liking so I could branch out and see everything. Paul, how about for you? Who's your gaming partner?
Anybody but my wife? Really? it's kind of who it is.
Yeah,
I mean, I have a couple
down there sometimes. I've seen pictures. Your dog's down there sometimes.
Dog's amazing. Yeah, no, he's great. Any game that uses only one button, he's like all over that shit. No, I've got some friends in town, and we get together almost weekly to get some gaming in. Like lately, we've been playing Dragon's Crown, the remastered one on the PS4. If not Dragon's Crown, then Sin and Punishment as well on the Wii. You know, that was another one we dialed up recently. I try to make it as much variety as possible, because the beat 'em up is great, but not every single time, right? So right. I think that's kind of the secret there. Sports games, however, we just don't seem to, and I wish maybe now that I have Blitz the League 2, maybe that'll be the one that kind of turns my friends onto sports games, because we can just inject our players with steroids directly and, you know, cause bone-breaking concussions.
Arnie's point taken right here. Look, there we go.
Exactly. But yeah, that's kind of where things stand for me now.
Mm-hmm. And Arnie, how about you? Who do you game with?
Exclusively my girlfriend at this point. Because I moved to Rhode Island in 2019, and then in 2020 something happened, and I wasn't able to get out of the house much. But we've made it. Yeah, I know, right? But we've made it work. We've basically, at this point, I'm actively looking for 2-player games for us to play together, mostly to subject her to my insane gaming tastes of the moment. So we'll play, you know, everything from like farm simulators to roguelikes to first-person shooters, yelling at each other all the way for each and every one of them.
That's love.
Of course.
But since I'm the one with the podcast, I get to say that I am the superior game player. She holds me back constantly. I'm sure she's listening at the door right now, waiting to bust in here and smack me over the head.
How many times have you finished Slay the Spire, Arnie?
One whole time.
And Anna?
She has finished it like 7 times.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay. I mean, clearly you're the superior gamer.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So you mentioned farming simulators. Had you fallen in the hole like I just did for Stardew Valley?
Yes, I did. She started playing it first, and then I started watching and complaining that I wasn't playing. And then they were kind enough to release a co-op patch, and I was like, now I can do your farm correctly. And I think that I've added significant value.
Oh. Pink. Did you put in some pink flamingos for lawn decorations?
I will be discussing this in detail subsequently about what specific value I've added to her farm.
Okay. All right. And Anthony, how about you? Who's your gaming partner? Who's your player 2?
Oh, it's my fiance. We often sit there and we just get lost in video games. And I'm lying; she never plays anything.
I was about to say you were pretty convincing, and I was like, what?
What?
Curveball. Nope, she's still the same. She won't even touch a damn thing. But my kids, usually, especially for we talk about the past year, like we've literally been confined. Like before we moved, we were confined in a 1-bedroom apartment. So it's like, so what do you want to do? I don't know. Play a video game? Okay, let's go. You know, that's the only way I could get access to the couch, really. And well, we had, you know, it was good. Like me and my son, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but we started playing A Way Out a few years ago, and then we got really back into it last year. And then, you know, I got to go with my favorite Streets of Rage 4 last year. Co-op was amazing because my kids never want to play anything like that. They see me playing, like if they see anything 2D is like foreign to them. They're like, what is this? We have VR now. What the fuck is that? But I was playing it by myself. I didn't even care. And they were watching me play it, and they even were like, okay, they jumped in and they started playing too, you know? So I thought that was pretty cool. And we beat the game. Like we beat Streets of Rage 4 like a few times. So that was fun, man. But yeah, it's usually the boys. The boys, if now that we're in the house, they're in their own rooms and areas. So they don't invite me anymore, you know? I'm out. I'm shopping for convertibles now. It doesn't matter anymore. So.
Getting that one ear piercing, the diamond stud. Yeah.
Yes, and the soul patch. I'm debating the soul patch. You know.
Oh wow!
Just dye it blonde.
There you go.
You got to commit, man. You got to commit.
Going full Mark McGrath.
Oh hell
Sugar Ray.
There was I remember, man, Arnie, you mentioned that there was one time there was like this MTV commercial. This is years ago.
Oh God.
And Mark McGrath was on there. He's like saying something. He's like, it's like some, you know, whatever charity or whatever. Hi, I'm Mark McGrath. Blah blah blah. And this little girl walks over to him, right? And she's like, "Hi, can I get your autograph?" And he's like, "Sure." And he keeps talking to the camera, and then he signs it. And as she's walking away, she goes, "Who's Mark McGrath?"
Nice.
Respect.
Yeah, that was great.
He's a likable guy.
I know, that's why I
in
love,
spite of his questionable facial hair.
Oh yeah, very questionable.
It was in at the time.
It was in enough for him to get away with it. But
yeah, if you were famous, you could get away.
You could kind of get away with anything, right? Like, I mean, look at the.
I'll be honest
Stones,
with you.
Man.
I had one. It was. I know it's a little bit. Well,
now I need.
We need
photographic
photos.
evidence. Of
Yeah.
this.
It's not gonna happen.
Evidence.
It's not gonna happen. No.
What's your Facebook again?
don't worry about it.
I'll send you the link, Arnie. It just popped up on people I might know later.
There it is.
You should put it in our Patreon exclusive chat. Then we can all see it in there.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You're right. I should. That's added value. All right. I think I'll do that. I
Pink
think I'll do that.
flamingos. Paul's soul patch. These are things that the public wants, man.
Yes.
If I had hair on my head, it wouldn't have happened. But I have to have hair on my face because if I don't, like if I don't have any facial hair, my head just looks like a giant pimple coming out of my sweater. Like it doesn't. It makes no sense at all. So I have to have something there. But if I don't really feel like shaving, you know, like. I have to have something, so there was the soul patch there just to have, you know.
Fantastic.
But that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, today we are talking about our favorite couch co-op games, and I think we will start with Anthony. Anthony, I know you've been playing a game, so which game?
Oh, Kelly, I didn't see this coming.
Out of left field.
Yeah, just out of left
My
field.
God.
Wow. Where do I begin? This is great that we can see each other on camera reacting as opposed to back in the day. I had to text you guys. This is what I'm doing right now. No. So yeah, so like I said, me and my son approached me last year about keep going with a game, a way out, and it's funny. This is one of those games that this is kind of like what I always envisioned when I was a kid playing games of. Just a game where you're doing something, but someone else is doing something on that same stage or that same environment that's affecting what you're doing, it still blows my mind. I still get the chills when I play games like this because it's so freaking cool.
Yeah,
it is. It's just one of those cool things. So because you're seeing, like I'm talking to my son and I'm like, all right, you got to go over there and you got to get this. You got to distract that person. And I'm just sitting there while he's doing it. And if he fucks up, we're like, come on, man, what are you doing? Let's go. Which is that's one of the best parts about A Way Out is just that you have to be on a couch. You know, you have to be right there next to each other. I know. Yeah. Like, I know Arnie one time, he mentioned it a few times on previous episodes, but like there's something special about having someone on the couch with you as you're playing because you can talk shit. You can yell at them. You can really get into it, man. People are too sensitive now. They want to do everything online. I'm not about that life.
The threat of physical violence really adds a whole new layer to gameplay.
Yeah.
You might get mushed. You might get smacked. And it's all part of the game. You know, it's part of the gameplay. But
I can't believe you brought up getting mushed.
Right? I said it on purpose, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna throw it back. Somebody's getting mushed." Is that more disrespectful than getting smacked in the face? I can't because you could get smacked.
Honestly, I don't even know what you're referring to.
Dude, it's
getting
so
mushed
obscure.
Is basically getting your face just hardly pushed, like just.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I've definitely done that.
You're a musher. There you go, Arnie.
Yeah. I've mushed and I've been mushed.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember for A Way Out. That's the one where you're in a prison?
Back to the game, yes. Yeah, that's the one.
Well, it starts in a prison, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it definitely starts off with a prison. It's like Leo and Vincent are the main characters. And it's, because of course, right? What guys in prison would it be named Leo and Vincent? You know, this is just perfect naming.
It really is, actually.
Yeah, and you go into prison. You're both I think Leo was arrested for accused of murder, and am I getting them confused? Yeah, Vincent, and then Leo is the one that's in prison for murder or something. Vincent's in there for some other blue collar stuff, but he's locked up. And basically, there's a fight that starts at the beginning of the game. I think it's in the cafeteria, and the what's his name, Harvey, the big crime boss, because of course there's a crime boss, right? He puts a hit out on Leo, and Vincent intervenes, and that's when they become friends. That's when they become just boys, and now they start devising a plan to try to escape from prison. And it's just amazing, because when I first heard about this game, I was just like, what is this? Is this Prison Break? The video game?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And which is probably why I dismissed it, because I was just like, I'm not playing that shit, Yeah.
But it's much more Shawshank than it is Prison Break.
Yeah. It's one of those things, in a video game, the storyline is crazy, because it's once you're escaping, but then they got families, and all these things are woven into the whole narrative, because the gameplay itself is kind of like a cutscene in some regards. And at some points, while they're explaining one character's story, you're just controlling that character while the other, character's doing something completely different current wise, so they'll time jump a few times, and while you're current, the other character's just doing something from the past or whatever. It's kind of cool, man. The way they did it, it's almost you get that sense of choose your own adventure, but not really. You feel like you have more control than what you really do. But they go. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to spoil anything in this game for anybody, But
if it's mostly story based, you don't want to start.
I don't want to give away, because there's anybody that's on the fence about playing this game, definitely play it with someone, because the ending is kind of it's a mush. The ending is a mush. You're not gonna see it coming. It's a silent mush, but it hits you. There's a bunch of they kind of it kind of keeps you involved, because it's never the same. You're going to characters, you're going to places, you're meeting people, but you're always doing something different. So just to give you an idea, in the when they're trying to escape from prison and whatnot, you're trying to get a chisel, right? I think Yeah, of course, right? You need a chisel, right? And of course, there's one.
Sure.
Yeah, so they're like in the infirmary.
You keep your hole behind a poster of what was it in the movie?
The one?
Some beautiful lady or something.
Yeah, I think so.
What does Andy Dufresne put the freaking poster up on the hole?
But yeah, you're like in the infirmary, and like you got to get the chisel, but you got to distract the nurse. So the other guy has to distract the nurse so that you can sneak over and get this stuff. And it just like creates these moments, man, that I'm just like, it's one of those things where you've been playing video games this long, especially when we went from like little bleeps and bloops to now this whole thing where like, yo, something you're doing over there is affecting what I'm doing over here, and we have to work together. It's pretty cool. And the fact you forget that it's so un-EA like to even make a game like this, but you know, they kind of took a chance on a smaller studio and it kind of paid off. I mean, you could tell the game isn't a high budget, but who cares? Like, this is one of those games that it's like the budget isn't quite AAA, but the experience is. And this is one of those games that I hope. I mean, I don't know, man, but I hope these are the games they give more effort to, because this is something that it's not a AAA game. You wouldn't go in the store and pay $60 for this game, but you know, when the game came out, I think it was about maybe $30 bucks, $25. You know, you catch a sale.
It's more expensive than that now.
Is it really?
The PS4
well, the physical
version,
one is like
the physical one is like $40-$50.
Oh yeah. But when it came out, it was kind of like just a digital. It was an all digital release at the time.
Yeah.
And I think I got it on sale. My son told me to get it, and we picked it up for like maybe $15-$20, and it's one of those games that like, yeah, man, I think it holds up pretty well too, man. It's got that GTA vibe. It's got that, you know, a great story, you know, a great story for a video game. It's got some depth. It's definitely got some depth to it. I really do love the whole the time jump mechanic back and forth, because like, you know, you're going into his background and you got like, you're playing
That's
through.
really cool.
Yeah. And it's something, man, it sucks because I don't think a lot of studios would be allowed to do something like this.
Yeah, but they are, man. This is it's a Hazelight Studios game.
Yeah,
and they've recently EA published, but they recently released It Takes Two.
It Takes Two, which is insane. It's also exclusively co-op.
Yeah, exclusively co-op, which is pretty bold.
Wild.
And I like it, man. I like the fact that these kind of games are happening. It seems like you see a game like A Way Out and then It Takes Two, and it almost seems obvious, right? Like two players, split screen, they each kind of perform tasks independently to accomplish an overall goal, right? And It Takes Two as well, by the way. Excellent game for streaming on Twitch. Like, very, very popular game to watch, because you know, you get two people trying to do something, hilarity ensues, right? Like, it's it's natural. Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that you yelled at your kids, and then they tried yelling at you, and then you smacked them, and that was that.
Yeah, they tried yelling at me. I mushed the shit out of them, man. Get out of here. But like, and you know, this is one of those things, man, because it's like, this is like a game that's more current. But I remember, I think I brought this up on our Discord chats, but I remember playing Rainbow Six on the original Xbox.
Yeah.
And that experience to me, playing it online, this was online, of course, but still, it was one of those things where this was the first time I experienced other people doing something in the game from my team that affected what I could do. So like, they could be off screen somewhere doing something that's going to affect how I can walk through the stage, basically. And it was one of the, you know, like I remember like having a headset and you having to whisper, because if you were playing online against another team, they could hear you talking. So you have to keep everything quiet and whisper. And my mom,
not a game for me. Not a game for me.
Well, this is a perfect evolution of that in a way, because it's like, okay, no one's got to be quiet, but we're just here in the same room working together to try to get this mission accomplished or whatnot, you know, to get, because like A Way Out, man, you really get into it, and you really want to find out what's going to happen. Like, you really want to know because they give you nothing. They give you no information on these characters. It's like the whole Lost series. just in a game. So at least you get to know what's going to happen.
That is exactly what I thought about when you started talking about the time shifting.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's like Lost.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's probably a story that never really ends and then nobody's satisfied.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Yeah, easily.
How accessible is A Way Out? Like, is it for somebody who's a non-gamer? Basically, I'm asking you if I could convince my wife to play it, because she does the thing where it's like, where I'm like, just hit the X button. And she's like, which one's the X button? And then before I can explain, she throws the controller across the room. I'm done with this.
Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe not A Way Out.
Well, it's because for us, it's easy to pick up and play, like, because we're just so familiar with, we know what this button's going to do. Most of the X is going to do this for the most part. And there's really not a lot of buttons, though, honestly. You know, it's one of those, like, press A here, press B here. So, yeah, as long as she knows how to, like, you can get her to, like, just, it's really the sneaking portion, because you kind of you don't want to hit that analog stick too fast, right? Make too much noise. But yeah, it's cool, man. It's and I'm sorry, the story just gets wilder toward the end, man. I'd even say there's a little bit of Scarface involved in this game. That's all I'll say. It's got that vibe, though. You know,
ooh. Yeah. Arnie's perked up.
Yeah, I'm not doing the intro again.
How long is it roughly?
I don't know, man. It's probably because it's got to be maybe 10, 15 hours at most.
Oh. Yeah, that's good.
Nice. I'm going to conservatively say it's 80 hours long.
Yeah, okay.
This is an epic RPG, like The Witcher.
Can you imagine a game that's co-op only that's 80 hours long?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
called
would ever
Divinity Original Sin.
Oh man, Divinity Original Sin. I did actually try playing that local co-op. Like,
I would love to, but it's like, isn't it like 100 hours long?
Yeah.
Well, that's not only is it 100 hours, like, have you ever like opened a book and read it with someone at the same time?
No, because I don't hate myself.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work, right? We all read at different speeds, and it's very quiet and not very, interactive.
Yeah.
Welcome to Divinity Original Sin, because that game has a shit ton of text, and on the surface, it looks like it's a great co-op game, but when you actually play it, so much reading. It doesn't quite work.
I was actually wondering about how the co-op in that worked, because RPG, of course I wanted to try it, but thanks for that information.
No. I mean, by all means, try it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you really like quiet moments, very long, quiet moments.
I honestly have no patience with co-op. Like, when I play like a Diablo game or something, my husband always wants to stop and look at every piece of armor and everything else, and I'm just like, let's go, we're not dying, let's move on, let's keep going. I'll upgrade my equipment when I'm dead, okay?
You know what's funny? I had that same experience with my son. We were playing Gears of War. I think it's Gears of War 5, and I'm like, hold on, let me go check over here. He's like, come on, let's go. Come on. I'm like, but we have to explore.
I have this same issue with my girlfriend because she reads like 75 words a second, and I read I read comic books. I read picture books. I read like 2 words a minute.
Oh yeah.
So whenever we start a new game, inevitably she'll like skip over like 3 things of dialogue, and I'm like, excuse me, like, can we take a second? And then she'll be like, all right. And then I will try to read, and then she'll get very angry at me.
It's true. I have the same thing with Hannah. Like, she reads fast. Like, she makes me feel stupid when I read, man. Like, she'll get ready to go, and I'm like, do you mind? I'm still trying to get through the first sentence. Meanwhile, she's like, page 2, you ready?
Yes.
Christy does the same thing, except that when it comes time to like review something that we've read, inevitably there's always, I skipped that paragraph, or I skipped that sentence. So I'm like, no wonder you're so goddamn fast. You're like kind of picking and choosing what looks important.
I've just never read anything more complicated than the back of a cereal box, so that's why my reading skills are
gotta know those carbs, dude. Gotta know how many carbs.
That's it.
I always do the little mazes on the back. It's fun for me.
That's better for your brain than anything. Yeah.
Yes. All right, well, I think it's a good time for a break here. And when we get back, we'll get into more of our co-op favorites. And we are back today with our look at our favorite co-op games. Next up, we have Paul. Paul, what are some of your favorite co-op games that we've got?
So I've got a couple. We'll see if we have time for the second one, because the first one, I don't know, maybe it'll take a little while, much like the game itself. Now, I guess the first question is, have you guys played Gain Ground?
No,
I haven't.
All right. So the reason is because you guys actually know Anthony's old too. Shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say Arnie and Kelly, But Gain Ground is actually an arcade game that was released 1988, developed by Sega. And man, it is so different than like pretty much anything else that was released at the time. And it's still different from anything else that's out there right now. Some people would have you believe this game sucks. I read a review by some jabroni at Nintendo Life, and he gave it a 5 out of... That is not a man of culture. Okay, man of culture like Gain Ground. First of all, the story, the plot, it might be my favorite thing. So we're in the future, right? Mm-hmm. It's peaceful.
Oh, good.
Humans have become soft. Kind of like in Wall-E, right?
Oh, okay.
So what they do is they develop the Gain Ground computer simulation to train people and kind of like restore their fighting spirit. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. They make the computer sim, everything goes great. But you would be wrong. Something happens, the computer system becomes sentient and kidnaps people. And so the people now have to enter the Gain Ground system and rescue all the hostages.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
Exactly.
Yet it happened. Holy shit. Yeah.
I don't understand. So anyway, the game is it's kind of like an overhead view shooter. If you kind of want to know what the aesthetic looks like, I might say like Gauntlet.
Okay.
The devs actually said like they took inspiration from Gauntlet, but it is quite a bit different. But that's kind of the aesthetic if you're thinking about it. The difference between Gain Ground and Gauntlet is that each level is a single screen, right? And you beat the level by either killing all the enemies in it or reaching the exit, which is somewhere on the screen, right? Now, and the game has like, so each level might take like a couple minutes, and the game has about 40 levels. And I know the Genesis version has like extra levels, which is probably where most people have played it, is on the Genesis. It has that sweet renovation cover. One of the few like purple colors that really works. So it's not really, but the thing is, it's not really like a run and gun or like Gauntlet game, right? The characters move really, really slowly. And figuring out how to win each level is almost like solving a puzzle. And you're also dodging enemies and projectiles at the same time, right? It's weird, man. Like, you play it, and when you pick up the controller for the first time, you're like, why are my guys moving so slow? Like, why? The reason is because if it goes too fast, you wouldn't kind of be able to figure everything out at the same time, right? Now, you don't have, like, lives, per se, right? You don't start off with 3 lives, and then every time you die, you lose 1 life. Basically, you start off with 3 different characters, and if during combat your character dies, what happens is they become immobilized on the field. They kind of like fall, and they're like, oh my god, I can't get up. And you just pick your next character out of the 3 that you have. And then what happens is that character can rescue the fallen one. And if you make it to the exit while holding the character that you rescued, then you get that character back for the next level.
Oh, okay.
Right? So that's kind of how you lose lives, is if you fail to rescue a character or if you die twice. So what ends up happening is that over the course of the game, you're rescuing these hostages that have been taken by the game ground computer simulation system. Each of the hostages that you rescue has different abilities. They have different types of weapons and so on, right? This is important because in order to kind of solve the puzzles, you need to figure out which characters are the best for each level. Now, this can create a little bit of an issue because if you lose a particular character that has a unique power, a level later in the game might become a lot more difficult.
Okay.
Right?
But not impossible.
Never impossible. I shouldn't say never, man. I don't know. Okay. I played it with our buddy Mike Doucette, buddy and patron, a couple years ago, and the game is like noted for being really difficult, but we made it far, and it was our first playthrough. We made it to like level 37 or something.
Oh wow!
Right?
Damn. Okay.
But we had lost a lot of characters by the time we got there, and then we got to one particular level where we just couldn't get through. It wasn't even like a lack of skill or anything like that. Maybe on my end, but not Mike. Mike's good at games. There was just like a section that we just could not get through. And I think maybe if we had different characters, we might have been able to get through it. But we just lost so many on the way there, right? So it's a really like, now that I've explained this to you, have you ever heard of another game like this?
I mean, when you first started explaining it, in my mind's eye, I was like, oh, is this just like a chopped and screwed version of Robotron? Like Robotron, but very slow? But then you continued talking, and I was like, no, it's not like that at all.
Yeah, no, it's very different. It's not twin stick either, right? It's like Gauntlet, where you have to turn the character and press the button to shoot, right?
Okay.
Now, it's weird though. It's a little bit awkward. Like your characters they're either right-handed or left-handed. So when you're playing Gauntlet, right, and you're using the archer and the archer fires his arrow, it comes right out from the middle of the sprite, right? It just kind of goes straight forward or straight wherever you're firing the bow, right? But in game ground, you either use your left hand or your right hand for the weapons. And it kind of fires it like from the edge of the sprite, and it's a little bit weird. Like it's kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, but you do get used to it. It's a little bit weird at first. Again, like, you know, if you're a person of culture, you'll appreciate these nuances. But you know, it's possible that you might not.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I definitely picked it up on the Sega Ages for the Switch. I picked that up, and I played it for like a few minutes, but couldn't, like, you know, this is me going in, not reading instructions, not looking at controls, nothing. And you're right. It's like, it's when you're not, you go in and you're moving so slow and you just don't know what to do. I was done in like seconds. I was just gone.
Yeah.
So
I forgive you.
I appreciate that. It's Catholic school education. Look at that. So, but
gotta appreciate everyone that way.
Yeah, definitely. But
absolutely.
Is that no? I mean, not talking to you about it, not hearing you talk about it. Like, I definitely want to give it more of a go. But Paul, is the Sega Ages one on the Switch the Genesis version or the arcade version? Do you know?
Yeah, it's the arcade version.
Okay.
The arcade version is known, I think, as the one that's the most difficult. There are actually a lot of different versions out there, and they all have something unique to offer. It's a pretty cool game in that regard.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say any of them are cheap, but at the same time, they're not all like unaffordable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really depends on who you ask. Like, so the arcade version is the only one where you can play 3 players. And that's also the Sega Ages version on the Switch. Now, what they do with the Switch version is they do have a rewind feature. Because, again, the arcade version's hard. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? So they have a rewind feature. That's pretty cool. But it is very much the arcade game. So because it's the arcade game, it's played in tate mode. You know, the big, fat, vertical screen. So
it sounded really nice when you said it like that.
Yeah,
I know. I'm trying, man. I'm busting out the Japanese tate. So it actually looks very unimpressive on the screen because so much of the screen's real estate is taken up with. They do a good job. Like what they do is they have pictures of all the available characters taking up the other sides of the screen. But unless you have the Switch flipped,
yeah,
right,
and you're playing it handheld, it's not like an entire screen kind of taken up. But like I said, it is the only one where you can play 3 players, so that's unique. Yeah. The PC Engine version, I think, might actually, it's generally considered the best version. Because it has the Red Book audio, which it never sounded better than video games never sounded better than they did on the TurboGrafx CD. Like the Red Book audio was just like the cleanest. It was so good. I sound like an old man talking about how vinyl, like nothing's better than vinyl.
Yes, you want the crispy pops.
Yeah,
it makes it sound.
It's okay. Vinyl is cool again. So
it absolutely is. Yeah. So, and also the PC Engine version has revamped difficulty. They actually toned the difficulty down. So for people who find the Genesis and the arcade versions too hard, the PC Engine version might actually be the most fun. You know what I mean? So you got better audio, you got better sound. There was also a re-release on the PS2 in Japan as part of the Sega Ages 2500 series. That one, actually, they completely redid the game. So it has 3D graphics. All the character portraits have been redone. The character portraits actually look really good. The 3D is like a little bit of a gimmick. You're probably still going to want to play it just top down.
Yeah.
And with the 3D, like you can kind of change the field of view so it's like 3/4 and stuff like that. But
yeah,
usually when you do that in a game, it doesn't actually help. It just kind of makes it look weird. So
is there,
go ahead, Arnie.
Like gameplay wise, or as far as experience with the game, does the co-op make a significant difference, like as opposed to playing single player?
Yeah, absolutely. Because then you have somebody else to complain about how slow the game is too.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, no. It makes the game way easier. That's kind of how it was for most games back then.
Yeah.
Like I had a whole bunch of games that I was kind of whittling down on my list for this episode, right? And I needed to go with an old game because I'm like the old guy and so on, right?
Yeah, man.
But like. But the games back then, like, Anthony, do you remember 8 Eyes for the NES?
8 Eyes, yes. I do remember that game. Yeah.
8 Eyes is a Castlevania clone, and it's really fucking difficult. But when you have a second player, the second player can take control of the main character's falcon and can fly around the screen attacking other characters with the falcon. Really cool, like for co-op, right? And also makes the game much, much easier. That's kind of how it was back then, right? Like an extra player usually meant that the game ended up being easier. And with Gain Ground, yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah, really fucked up of video game companies to make me make friends. It's not okay.
If anything, they're just shaming you, right? Like, you're not going to be able to beat this until you get out there and make some friends, Poindexter. So,
I know, burdening me with shitty AI my whole life so that I'll actually talk to people.
Bastards.
It's funny when you mentioned how slow the game was, and when you were mentioning the description, you're talking about like people in WALL-E. So I was just picturing these guys in wheelchairs with their TVs in front, trying to go in and rescue
little
people.
potato feet.
It's like, oh, it makes sense. They're slow. Okay, it's.
Yeah, no, these people they're in shape. They're ready to go. I just don't know what the deal is. And
that was my favorite part of your description, is a world where playing video games will like make me ripped and a warrior.
We still have a chance here.
Someday.
It's called Ring Fit, people. Get on it.
Does that work?
I don't know. I've heard it's pretty tough if you play it on like the most difficult setting. Then
I saw it at Walmart the other day, and I thought about it.
15 squats to shoot one fireball.
I mean, I like the idea, but I feel like if I get that, then if I'm going to play this, why not just go do something? I feel like I'm cheating working out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Excuse
I don't
me,
want to be,
sir.
I don't want to be this guy now. I don't want to be indoors playing a video game and saying I'm working out.
It used to be once upon a time that DDR was like low key.
Oh, yeah.
a huge
Oh, yes.
like way for people to lose weight
Yeah.
without even really like realizing that it was happening. So I kind of wondered if Ring Fit had like similar intensity. I can't imagine it being as fun. But
I don't think anything could give you a cardio workout like DDR does
I don't think so either.
on the higher
I don't think so either.
difficulties.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway,
the only
so-
problem is on the cheap plastic mats they sold you, you'd slip and like break your neck.
I know, man. You had to. Yet there was so much MacGyvering in order to make those mats work and not
Yeah.
slip. And
Yes. And you have to
Yeah.
buy a new one every week because they just stopped responding. Yeah.
yeah.
You think
Yeah,
they'd
they-
learn after the Family Fun Fitness pad, but no, here we are still shoving sensors into like deflated sleeping bags and being like, here it is.
Anyway, another thing I want to mention about Game Ground as well, and this actually I didn't know about this until I was reading for the episode, which means as usual, this goddamn podcast means I'm going to be spending more money.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I have to get the PS.
No, I was gonna say I'm already looking up on eBay Game Grounds, Sega Genesis. Like, I'm ready.
It's a really sweet looking game, dude. Those renovation covers, but even by renovation cover standards, the Game Ground one is like, it's top tier.
Yeah.
It's a really, really nice game to have on the shelf. But now I have to get the PS2 version, unfortunately, because if you beat the game in a certain time limit, you can unlock an extra mode.
Oh.
And the extra mode has you can unlock an arranged soundtrack. So it has all the tracks from the game that are rearranged, plus new tracks. And they're done by this guy. You guys probably haven't heard of him, Saitama Saishu Heiki. Or SSH, I guess is more like commonly what he's known as.
Nope.
And what he does is he makes like kick-ass synth rearrangements of video game music. He has albums out and the whole thing. Some of the ones that he's done Dr. Wily's stage from Mega Man 2, Metal Squad from Thunder Force 4, I think the final boss fight from Final Fantasy 6 as well. And they all sound fucking epic.
Yeah.
And so now that I know that he's worked on Game Ground for the PS2, I'm like, well, fuck, now I gotta get this.
So you have to get it for the PS2, but then you have to beat it within a certain amount of time to get his version of the soundtrack, like his rearranged tracks.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Not that I would normally recommend this, but have you tried looking on YouTube for them?
Well, why would I do that, Arnie?
Well, it
That's
sounds
no
like this
fun.
game is hard, Paul.
Okay, look, some of us aren't scared little children, and we will try to beat the more difficult game.
That's fair.
If that's too much for you, Arnaldo, it's okay. You can admit it.
I understand.
I'm not going to make fun of you.
I understand that you're built different, Paul. I understand. Fair enough.
But yeah, no, like now I have to get it. Thankfully,
is that
it's
a
not,
Sega
it's not
Ages
that
release
expensive.
on the PS2? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's part of the 2500. I love it. I love that they call it the Sega Ages 2500 because they were all 2500 yen.
Yeah.
And now, like, none of them are fucking 2,500 yen.
Well, Arnie's not going to pay any more than 2,500 yen for this.
No, it's on the box.
I'm
on the
paying
box.
what it says right there.
That is fucked up. That is like when you go to the store and you buy an Arizona iced tea. It says 99 cents right on the fucking can. They're like, oh, it's $1.27 with tax. And I'm like, fuck you. No, it's not.
Well,
goddamn
that's like
iced tea.
like when you go on eBay and you're looking for a game, right? And it's something that's gone up in value, but the bastards leave like the sticker on it, like what they paid for it. So it's like, $15.99, but now I want you to pay me $500 for this game. I'm like,
Drives me
yo,
nuts.
get the sticker off, man.
My Earthbound still has its $69.99 sticker on it. So
You're a terrible person.
But that's for you, Kelly. But that's for you to know. Like, yeah, this is what I paid for.
Yeah.
It. Yeah.
No. Are you kidding me? I had a coupon.
Oh.
I had a coupon from Nintendo
Arnie, you got some
Power.
competition here. She got coupons.
Nintendo Power gave me a $10 off coupon.
No,
So,
my favorite eBay thing is when you find an eBay listing, but it's in like some other currency, and then it gives you the conversion to American dollars, and I'm like, oh, all right, at least I'm not paying $20,000 Canadian for this. It's only
At least.
it's only $20 or whatever.
It's
You know what we
15
need?
cents. Yeah.
Is we need to film a YouTube series where we go to Japan and we just film Arnie negotiating with Japanese game store owners.
Oh my god, that would be yes.
That's what needs to
Yes.
happen.
And I
Like
don't-
he needs to pull out the Sega Aegis 2500 and be like, but 2,500 yen, and then hilarity ensues.
No,
Sir,
you-
I don't think you've heard of a little idiom called "the customer is always right."
Plus, it's an old game, so
Yeah, exactly.
2,500 yen. No. 2,000. Got a
Exactly.
discount. It's old.
You know that once you take it out of the plastic, you've devalued it like 25%, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like when we drive our convertible out of the showroom,
Exactly.
it's gonna be way less. So
It's
same
worth
thing.
like 70% less.
And then Arnie will go back in there and he'll be like, "Hey, by the way, the price value. Can I get a price match now? We just drove it out the lot and it's worth less."
Yeah.
So
I'm not paying sticker right now. I'm not paying sticker. I'm definitely getting the floor mats.
we test drive it, and at that point, it's used.
Yeah,
So
that's a used vehicle now, sir.
yeah. Sorry, guys.
Certified pre-owned.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's gain ground. Again, like, I don't know, it's unique. I wanted something unique to show off. And when I played it, like the few times that I have played it co-op, it's a game where you're, at least for me, it was a game where I'm like, why is this fun?
Yeah.
It doesn't look fun. It doesn't move like it's fun.
Yeah.
But yet somehow we can't stop playing it. I don't understand. So, I mean, if you find, I can't speak to the Sega Aegis version on the Switch.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, any game where you play 3 players, there's obviously like a minimum amount of fun there.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna give it a
3
whirl.
players is such a specific number.
it is really,
It's
isn't it?
this, Secret of Mana. That's about it.
Oh yeah, Secret of Mana was also on the short list.
Yeah.
At least for me, that was another one. I can't play that one single player. Co-op though, it's fun. I had Trine on the list too, but I think
Played Trine.
I think Kelly's gonna usher me out the door here and and perhaps take another break. I don't know, how are we doing for time, Kelly?
Oh, we got a little bit of time. Depends how much you want to talk about it.
Let's talk about Trine.
Okay.
Go for it.
Now, did you buy the Trine collection for PS4? Is that how you played it?
No, I played
Fuck.
Trine 2 on the PS3. That was my first exposure to it.
Okay.
And so yeah, Trine, man, like it's one of these games where, you guys remember the Lost Vikings
Mm-hmm.
for like
Yes.
the SNES? And yeah,
By
it
Blizzard,
takes
yep.
the Lost Vikings formula, but improves it immeasurably. Because in Lost Vikings, you're kind of like one at a time, picking the Vikings and solving puzzles, platforming, and so on. But with Trine, you actually have everybody going at the same time.
Yep.
You still can play it single player, but honestly, it's lame,
It
right?
sucks.
Like this is
It's so
yeah,
bad.
yeah. This is a game you got to play. You got to play co-op.
Yeah.
And it's really cool in that regard. Like the way I think of video games is often the only reason that I sometimes prefer board games is because board games involve people talking to each other,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Whereas with video games, like I'll be playing, Guilty Gear or Street Fighter online with some friends,
Mhm.
and we'll be chat. But then once the round actually starts and we're playing against each other, like our brains just don't have the capacity to continue these conversations while still doing fireballs.
Well, then
You know
you're in
what
the
I'm saying?
Kumite, so you have to be silent.
Exactly. So Trine kind of bucks that trend in that you actually have to talk to your people around you in order to solve all the puzzles, right? And it's really cool. Like it's a physics-based platformer, and pretty good cash cow, I think, for Frozen Byte, the developer. Yeah. This was originally released in 2009, and they've released 3 sequels now. They're up to Trine 4 now. Yeah. And I guess it's their bread and butter. It sells really well. And I don't know, it's a cool game, man. Like, it's gorgeous. Yeah. Like, it's 2D. The artwork looks great.
Yep.
The story, it's kind of a throwaway story. Yeah. The 3 heroes get together. There's like a princess and a kingdom, and there's a plot twist.
A magical MacGuffin of some kind.
Exactly, right? At least for Trine 2, I didn't play the first one, but at least for Trine 2, like, all the characters, there's 3 different ones you can pick from. Mm-hmm. A fighter, I think she's a thief.
Yes.
And a wizard.
It's the same in Trine 1, by the way.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. In Trine 2, I know that they give the fighter and the thief extra abilities that kind of help them solve puzzles as well. Like, the fighter can hold his shield over his head and use it almost like a parachute and float through the air, which makes no sense, but it's a magical world, whatever. And the thief now has like a bionic commando kind of swinging grappling hook kind of deal.
I think she had that in the first one too.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know.
I don't know.
My story of Trine starts with the most GameStop story ever, which is that, like, on PS4 there is a Trine collection that has Trine 1, 2, 3 plus Trine 4. This is how it is, right? So I go to GameStop and it's right there. Trine collection. It's $10. I'm like, yes, I will get this. Right next to it, just Trine 4. It's like $30.
Wow, that is the most GameStop story.
I was so confused. I was like, I must be misreading one of these two. No, that's what it is. So I played it with my girlfriend. We beat Trine 1 and we started Trine 2, but we haven't gone back to it in a while. And Trine 1 is, like Paul said, you can't play this game by yourself. It's just boring.
It's terrible.
But then if you play it with somebody else, I mean, this might be unique to us, but I don't think we've ever wanted to do violence to each other more than while, like, on the last levels of Trine. Because, the first levels are like, oh, yeah, you're just going around, blah, blah, blah. Then in the last levels, it's like, okay, now you have to do stuff while other things are coming to kill you. Like, if you don't get up this chute in, like, a certain amount of time, you just die. And she played the wizard because I hate magic users. I suck at all of them. And the wizard, he's like Paul was saying, he's like your main guy to do things because he can make platforms and boxes and float things so you can climb up. And so the way you do this, and I don't know why they've done this. I don't know if it was different on the, like, PS3, but the way you do this is you have to hold a button down and then you have to, like, draw the shape on your, like, touchpad for it to appear. And I think there's a different way to do it where you can do it with the analog stick as well, but you have to, like, if you want to make a plank, you have to draw, like, a straight line. If you want to make a box, you have to make a square. And there's, like, a triangle one, I think, as well. Sometimes the game decides that you did not draw a square. You, in fact, drew a line, and so you get a plank instead of a box. And there's also different sizes. So if you draw a short line, you get a shorter plank. Draw a long line, you get a very long plank. If you draw a small square, you get a tiny box. If you draw a big square, you get a big box. Sometimes the game decides, no, you did not draw a big box. You get a tiny plank. And so when those two things combine, you take out your frustrations on the person who is the wizard, which may not have been fair in hindsight.
No, this is, I think this is typical for a game of Trine. The wizard, we just called the wizard the box bitch.
Yeah.
Because, like,
that's all they do.
That's all they do. It's like, draw me a box, bitch. Hurry up, give me a box, bitch. Over and over and over. And whoever's playing the wizard, at least from when I played it, like, just started getting pissed off. Like, K, like, all they're doing is drawing boxes the whole time.
The inverse of this... Sorry, Paul. I was just going to say, the inverse of this is when you, as the fighter/thief, end up getting yourself killed, and then the wizard is the only person left, and they start cursing at you because they can't do shit against all these enemies. They just draw boxes at them and try to push them into lava or something. They inevitably die, and then you have to start from whatever your last checkpoint was.
Yeah, everybody gets not pissed off at the wizard, but like the wizard gets treated like trash, like a slave. But the wizard can get on their high horse because, the fighter and the thief,
you had
they
one
die
job.
a lot. Yeah, you had one job. All you had to do was jump on that platform. How did you screw up that jump? That was so easy.
So the wizard is like a healer in an MMO?
Yeah.
It's just the...
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
They take
like
all the abuse for doing like the most important job.
Yes, exactly.
But I mean, as violent as this sounds, and as unpleasant as we're making it sound, it is a lot of fun,
it is
right?
very
because
fun.
You are interacting with the people that are there in the room with you.
Yeah.
And you can actually like revive characters after they die.
Yes.
So like if your fighter dies, it's still possible for the thief and the wizard to solve whatever platforming puzzle it is, and then arrive at a checkpoint, and the checkpoint revives and heals everybody.
Yeah.
And
the checkpoints are pretty generous as well.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
But I mean, we finished it, so it's fun enough that you'll push through all that and give it a good go. I still want to play the rest of them. I'm assuming they just get more complicated as it goes. I haven't, like I said, I started playing Trine 2, but not very much.
Yeah.
But it's very fun. But it's like they didn't make it exclusively co-op, but they should have.
Yeah.
They really should have. Yeah, the single player I think is just kind of like, if God, there's so many games out there to play. Why would you play Trine single player? I don't know.
I'm
it's there to get a few extra sales out. I think.
Yeah,
sure.
Maybe.
That's about it.
I'm definitely gonna check out that collection though. We'll wait for a little bit of a price. See now, out of pure principle, Arnie sold for $10. I can't pay more than that for it now.
I think you can still find it at GameStop used for $10.
I gotta check it 15. Out. Yeah, because I'm like,
or you can get it. You can get it digitally on the Switch. I think there's a collection on the Switch, or at the very least, there's Trine 4 on the Switch. But
and then on PC,
it's out there.
On PC, they usually go on sale for like $2 each.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on PC. Yeah. Why are we even talking about digitally anywhere but PC? Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah. All right, well, that will do it for Trine. Now we're going to take a break and get back to more co-op after the break. And we're back here today talking about co-op games. Next up, I've got a couple of games that I've been playing. Basically, at the beginning of the year, my husband was like, I really want to start playing games with you again. So
great husband impression.
Yes.
Uncanny.
Great.
Uncanny.
Jeez, man, it's like he was right there.
Exactly. So what I did is I decided, well, this is kind of a nasty word on Twitter right now, but I went through Game Pass, which I know a lot of people on Twitter, they don't like Game Pass right now.
Why?
Yeah.
People big mad about Game Pass.
Big mad about it. Yeah, they're PlayStation fans, and I guess every time a new game is announced, your Xbox fans will go on there and be like, well, that's on Game Pass. And then you just get the PlayStation fans on there.
Twitter's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear, Xbox will tweet something really nice like, congratulations, PlayStation, on your whatever, on your conference or whatever. And then people are like, Xbox sucks. PlayStation better.
Yeah.
PlayStation better. Why are you here? Xbox sucks. I'm like, damn.
Anthony, I'm fighting on the front lines of the holy war of video games on Twitter.com, so leave me alone. Except I just go on there and I'm like, there's never been a better video game console than the TurboGrafx 16.
There you go.
You're the guy that nobody hates. Nobody hates the crazy old man. Like, oh, it's Arnie again, yelling at a cloud.
We peaked at Neogeo. It's never gotten better.
Yes. So I went through all of Game Pass, and basically any game that said local co-op, I downloaded. I downloaded every single one of them. And then I brought him into the room and I was like, you pick one and we'll play it. Don't really care. So what we decided on was Children of Morta. Children of Morta is a roguelike game. that came out in 2019. And honestly, I had no idea what it was beforehand. Just downloaded it, like I said, because it said local co-op.
Yep.
And we ended up having an absolute blast with this game.
Very fun.
Yes. You start out, you're a member of the Bergson family, which you end up playing as the entire Bergson family over time. There's 7 characters right now in the game.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was a DLC character, but you got it for free.
Oh.
Yes, but they all play dramatically different, and you just end up going through, I believe it's about 10 stages or so, the entire game. Somewhere between, it's somewhere between 9 and 12 stages. I can't remember exactly. But it is roguelike. You die. You have to expect to die. I remember the first night that we played, we just couldn't get past the first spider boss.
Same.
There's a spider in the first area. And I was like, why do you like these types of games? Because
They're so good.
You make no progress for the first 3 hours of this game.
Yeah, I don't like losing all my progress every time I die. Getting all these upgrades and then, you died, you lose them all. But with Children of Morta, one thing that is nice is there is a permanent progression system where you can upgrade each family member. And for a certain number of points, a perk that you get for one family member will affect all of them. So there's a lot of perks to making sure that you play as all the different characters. And actually over time, if you play the same one, because I liked the archer. Let's face it, she's pretty much overpowered.
She is ridiculously strong in this game.
When we finally beat the spider boss, it was basically because I learned the pattern and could just stand back and shoot arrows at her while
she plays like a twin stick shooter, basically.
So, and it was just, I'd like to play her so much, but if you play so many dungeons in a row as her, she gets fatigued. And does less damage and not as well. So it's just a way to make sure that you're playing as all the different characters, getting all the different abilities for them. And also with this game, the graphics, they're beautiful. It's really weird because it's in an 8-bit style. And when I first saw these graphics, I was just like, I don't understand why people like them. it just didn't look that pretty. And then you actually download the game and I see it on my 4K TV and just the shot of the Bergson's house. And as it pans out and you see the tree in the background, it's just like, wow, they did so much with this artwork. It looks beautiful.
Very pretty. It's a game that I'm glad was made today. Because if it had been made for the NES, it'd be isometric and it would suck.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking game. Wow. I didn't even know until you just said that it was like an 8-bit style, and then I just looked at the screenshot. I'm like, oh, yeah, it is, but you can't. They did such a great job with the background and stuff.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Like Kelly said, it's the first 2 to 3 hours of this game, you're just bashing your head against a wall, not being able to progress. They also have little side quests that sometimes you run into randomly in the dungeons, and that'll do some fun stuff. You get a tiny wolf puppy, and
the wolf puppy will give you a potion to refill your health at the beginning of every boss
of the boss fight. So there's benefits to exploring and doing all the side stuff. Because whenever you go into a new dungeon, you have to fight the enemies that mess with you, but you could just, if you find the exit straight away, you could just keep going. But it's usually more beneficial to you to explore and get some upgrades and get, some buffs and stuff before you keep going. But God, it's honestly, the enemies kind of reminds me of Gauntlet as well, because there's points where there's 30, 40 enemies just bum rushing you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once again, you want the archer for that. She can just sit back there. And it's another reason that, yes, it is you can play single player as well, but having that extra person, so you can have one of the tank characters trying to take all that damage and just have the archer sitting back. Just makes it a lot easier.
A lot of running in this game. A lot of running around, shooting things while you run around.
Right. So it just so I can be clear, overhead view, kind of like Gauntlet, or where does it draw inspiration from? Like League of Legends or something like that?
For me, and like the design and all that, especially because it's in the 8-bit style, I see it as like a little bit of a gauntlet-y type game, but much more involved. Like you have like hotkey like buffs and spells and stuff like that, so it gives you like a lot of variety for your characters, and then you pick up like added effects to your buffs, to your attack sometimes. Like you could do a spell, but it'll activate like the spell of a different character when you do it, like both at the same time. So you can really like combo stuff. There's like familiars that sometimes show up, and those are broken. They're so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you get like 2 familiars, you're unstoppable. All you have to do is not die.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, it sounds really interesting. I think you mentioned it once on the show before on a What Have We Been Playing episode, Arnie. And since then I've been like, I really want to try it. Like, is it more than 2 players you can play? Like, is it up to 4?
No, I think it's just 2.
It's 2-player only. Yeah.
Just
right
2 players, eh?
Yeah, and right now it is only local co-op, but the developers had said they're working on an online co-op feature for the future.
Yeah, they have to. Like the same thing happened with Frozenbyte and Trine. Like apparently, like online co-op demands a lot of development time and effort. And if you're a small studio releasing a game for the first time, apparently you just don't have the resources, you don't have the money to make online co-ops, so you do it local. And then if the game's popular, then you release updates, patches, sequels, and those all have online, which I understand why. I mean, if I could play it online, I would. Yeah. But there's local, also... I mean, we've said it already, local's the way to go.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Got to be able to look over and go, what are you doing?
And the fun thing, like Kelly is saying, like every time you do a run, even if you die, usually a little bit more of the story gets unlocked. You get to learn about like your divorced alcoholic uncle who meets his son for the first time. You get to hear about your like grandma, crazy witch grandma. Like it's a very interesting story, and they do a good job of juggling all the characters to make them all like pretty interesting. Some of them less so than others for me, but all of them I was like, oh, I'd like to learn more about this character. Like, what's going on with you?
This is kind of this is the way they have to do it now with roguelikes is, I mean, I think Hades has kind of perfected it, and everything that comes after now is going to be kind of compared to Hades, which is fine. I mean, if Hades is superlative, the characters in the game now, are some of them like ranged, some are melee, some are magic, and so on. Yeah,
it's your standard like archer, 2-dagger guy, big hammer guy, big sword and shield guy, magic person, also completely broken if you upgrade her. Yeah, they're all there. It's a party. Rogues, rangers, like knights.
Yeah, the last one's kind of the DLC character is kind of a melee, but still have a bit of magic on her. Yeah.
And the melee is not too... Basically what I'm getting at is, like, in these kind of games, often what happens is you just want to pick ranged characters only, because melee means you just get punished. Yeah. Like, is it balanced?
No, my favorite guy is the son, the whiny son who has 2 daggers. He's the best. He can turn invisible. He can like backstab people much quicker than all the other characters, so it's easy to poke and run. There are definitely characters, like there's another guy who has a big hammer, and his whole thing is just he swings extremely slow. So his whole deal is like stand in front of people and just swing away. But he has like much more health than the other characters for that reason. And then the dad is also like a tanky kind of guy, but he has a shield that can block attacks. I'm not good at using it because that is like another button I have to press. So
I made my husband play that one. So
he's not good. But he's also the first character you get, so he's not meant to be like the guy that you're like, oh, this is my favorite character.
And some of his family traits are really good. So once again, even though if you don't like the character that much, you still want to use them to make sure you get those family traits for everyone else.
And it does scale appropriately, where like even if you neglect a character for a while, if you just pop them into a later dungeon, they'll level up like that. Like They'll scale very quickly to the rest of your... So it's not like, oh, I forgot to level this guy up. Now I have to, like, slog back to, like, the easy dungeon for 3 hours to get him back up to where, you know, you could just, like, oh, come in here with this other character, let them kill, like, 10, 20 mobs, and you'll level up, like, 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting one. It sounds, I don't know, for me anyway, it sounds like it's right up my alley. Like, I love roguelike games. I like that they're different every time. This game is different every time, right?
Yes, all the dungeons are procedurally generated.
Exactly.
And the enemies
like
are
Arnie was saying, there's usually at least one hidden little side quest each time you go in. So me being the let's go person, and my husband being like, no, we've got to explore everywhere. He won out on this game because... I also love achievements, and I needed every single one of them. So it was basically had to explore each and every dungeon to see each and every side quest for sure.
I need to go to your house, Kelly, and just kick you out of the room and play with your husband. 'Cause it sounds to me like I can give him everything he needs.
That sounds like a Maury episode now.
There's also like there's also that unique roguelike feature of like, wow, we've got everything we need. Everything's going great. Let's explore this one other place before we go to the boss. Oh, we died.
Yes. Yep.
Which is like required for it to be good, a good roguelike in my opinion.
Of course. Dude, like just playing Returnal a couple weeks ago with a buddy of mine. You know, having a run, it's going so well.
Yep.
And there's literally one more room before the boss, and it's like, well, you know, might get a health upgrade in here. Get into that room, and oh dear God! And there's like tons of enemies, and I'm like, God damn it, this was going so well.
Yep. If you like luck out and get like 2 good buffs at the beginning, you know you're fucked. You're like, I should just start over. This is bad.
Yeah, but that game really opened my eyes to roguelikes, so I am actually playing a couple. I actually picked up Hades, and then there's a like Borderlands-esque roguelike on PC, Gunfire Reborn, that I've been playing lately too.
Actually.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun too. So if everyone wants to pick it up, you know, not saying you have to, but you know, if you want to play it at some point, just let me know.
Right on. What else did we find on Game Pass then?
The classic one. I know it's been talked about on the podcast before, but guess what? I didn't talk about it. So we're going to get to talk about it again. Overcooked 2.
Hey.
Oh boy.
Yep, that one was on Game Pass as well. I actually had the PC version for a while, but that one, the online co-op doesn't work on the Windows 10 version, so don't ever get that if you're looking to play online with that. So ended up I finally convinced my husband to play it because it's a cooking game.
It's like a roguelike, but with cooking.
Yeah. I'm trying to connect the two in my head and not really seeing it, but okay. But whatever works. And I was like, okay, we're playing Children of Morta. After that, we can play a little bit of Overcooked 2. And man, we really got into that game. So, I mean, the first few levels kind of easy, but by the end, we not only did we play Overcooked 2, I ended up buying the first Overcooked, and then Game Pass was like, hey, all the DLC for Overcooked 2 is on sale, so why don't you buy that as well? So ended up, I think it took us probably about a month, but we got every single achievement in that game as well.
Wow.
Demented.
And that is...
psycho behavior.
And still married.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
There were some tough times. There was Overcooked 2, if you play it for a while, the main stages aren't really all that hard, in my opinion, once you get all of it down.
Yeah.
And then you download the DLC. And the DLC is just hell. It really is. There's a couple of campfire levels that I can remember that we would just be going 30 seconds in, and we would accidentally drop an ingredient on the floor instead of the chopping block or something, and it was like instant reload because you knew your timing was so tight that if you wanted that 3-star rating, which we needed, you would have to just keep doing it over and over again.
Need is a strong word, Kelly.
Needed. Well, okay. Well, after you get all the 3 stars on the main campaign, it opens up a special 4th star.
Oh, Christ.
And we just took a look at that, and we were like,
wow.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
absolutely not.
All
like
right.
the point totals doubled, I think, in some, or sometimes even tripled. It was like,
Oh my God.
To get 3 stars, you need 500 points, but to get 4 stars, here's 1,500, here's 2,000, go for it. And you're just looking at that like, nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Listen, I've tried cooking in real life. It hasn't worked out. I don't need to transfer it to video game form.
I concur.
Make a mean ham sandwich for anybody.
How do you eat?
I spend money. That's how I eat. Make myself a nice bowl of cereal and milk, you know? If I'm feeling adventurous.
Yeah, what's funny for me too is that Overcooked 2 I'd actually heard of years ago. I was working at Best Buy, and just coworkers would come by. Have you tried Overcooked 2? You've got to try it. And I was like, nah, it's not my kind of game. And of course, pandemic happens. You know, we got to play online at home, or we got to play at home on Coach Co-op and get down and absolutely love the game. If they made an Overcooked 3, I'd be buying it instantly.
Yeah, you got to play Moving Out now.
I was about to say, have you tried Moving Out?
Yeah. I've seen it, but I have not played it, so I didn't know how similar it was.
I think it's from the same dev, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yep.
It's different, obviously, in that you're throwing shit around, I think, in that one, as opposed to like lovingly crafting a recipe.
but still like the same thing. This is the kind of stuff, man, I've said it a million times, but like, especially for something like couch co-op, to come up with like an entirely new concept like this for couch co-op specifically, because you're not playing this game by yourself. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm so impressed with the devs on this one. Like, it's really, it's so fantastic. I can't say enough good things about Overcooked.
And Overcooked plays up to 4, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Man.
The chaos.
My God.
I really want to play 4-player. I haven't had a chance to do that. I think it would be absolute chaos. It
is. I've done it, and the game went almost exactly as I think you'd expect, which is that you're playing, everything's kind of quiet at first, things are getting messed up because obviously you have to communicate, right? Mm-hmm. And then eventually everybody just starts kind of talking, and one person has to like be a Nazi and the whole thing, and it becomes but that's what makes it fun, right? Like, if you're just playing it silently, you're not gonna get anywhere, and it's almost more fun when people are yelling at each other.
Yes.
And much
getting
easier
upset.
to deflect blame with 4 people involved.
Oh my God, yeah. There's only like a 1 in 4 chance that it's your fault now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, me and my online gaming buddy, we always said that if we played, we'd have to play 4 person, and we'd just blame the other 2 the whole time.
Exactly.
So, not our fault. It's their fault. But man, those DLC levels are absolutely insane. If you have not tried them yet, I would definitely recommend doing so. There was one level I just remember the timing, like, I think we did that level about 50, 60 times before we got the 3 stars, because it was just, and it was down to the second. So.
Am I crazy?
Oh my God.
Or like, wasn't there, because at some point you leave the kitchen and then you start cooking in like more insane, elaborate scenarios, no?
There's one level where you're cooking on a hot air balloon.
That's the one I was thinking of. That's exactly the one I was thinking of. And you crash
to the ground. Yes. Yep. There's one of the DLC ones, you're on a beach, and every minute or so a tide will come in and destroy anything that you have on the grill. So you have to look for, there's tells on the side where people are walking up and down, and you'll see them walking up the beach, and you'll know it's time for the tide to come in. So you got to quickly save all your food and just keep going.
See, I would just move the grill.
Yes.
Is there an option?
Well, that
to
would
do
make
that?
sense if it was not Overcooked world.
I just imagine like this being like one of the, like, you go to a state park and there's like already installed grills and they're like, this is the only one that's available, you can't move it.
Yeah.
Yep, and your kitchen's set on fire. Yeah, there's a lot of insanity, and I can see why a lot of people warned me that it could break relationships if you're not.
Oh yeah,
man.
If you don't really.
So
this sounds like a
really
5
care
out of
for your
5 on the
partner.
mush scale for sure.
Oh, that's a heavy mush.
6 out of 5.
Heavy mush.
Yeah,
Heavy mush.
absolutely.
This is, like, so I'm hearing about this game. I mean, I've heard of Overcooked. I just haven't played it yet, but like going away next weekend and being in a house with 4 other people.
Don't
this
do it.
Sounds tempting to me.
No.
It would be
Bring it.
insanity at its finest, for sure.
I'm thinking just for the sake of travel, like the Switch version will just be the one I'd grab because everyone's
course.
bringing they're all bringing their Switches, so it's like we got plenty of controllers to go around. So I'm thinking, this would be, hey,
Yeah. Additional bonus, really easy to play with the small Joy-Con. Like there are a lot of games where you, like Smash Brothers, for example, like whoever gets stuck with the small Joy-Con in multiplayer Smash is just getting fucked.
Yeah.
This is the person that nobody likes, clearly, right?
They're the player 4 with the Madcatz controller.
Absolutely.
Definitely Madcatz level.
But with Overcooked, because it's only 2 buttons and a stick, like the small Joy-Con doesn't make a difference. You can just as easily hold that and play the game effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really handy in that way. If other people are bringing their Switches, you're going to have no issue.
That's awesome, then.
There are only 2 buttons in a Switch, but at the same time, you're missing out on that other button that lets you swear at all the other people.
Well, if you're there in co-op, you can swear all you want right there.
I know. You do it in real life.
Mush.
True.
Fuck you.
Very true.
Mush.
Yeah, there were definitely some nights where we just had to walk away, and it was like, okay, we can't do this level tonight. Let's stop for the night. All right, well, that will do it for Overcooked. Time to take our final break, and then we'll come back for Arnie to finish it off. All right, and we are back looking at co-op games. And Arnie, you've got to finish us out. What do you have for us here today?
Here we go.
You have 5 minutes.
Well, I have to start. I'm going to start with the most modern, and I'll work my way backwards. Gotta start with Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley, local co-op, released just December of 2020. My girlfriend, I think, had put like 200 hours into a farm at that point. And I was like, we're going to start a brand new farm. You and me together.
Better farm.
We're going to make magic happen. It's going to be great. I've been told, I was told before this episode started that I have to read a prepared statement from my girlfriend.
That's awesome.
I asked her for her thoughts on Stardew Valley, and she sent me a very brief statement, and Kelly will understand what this means. She said, Stardew Valley co-op is only fun if you are not the person in the relationship who has to stay home and water all the plants and pet all the animals every fucking day. I did a very important job. I went to the mines every day and fought monsters and got us ore. That was my
doing God's work.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That is not as important as petting all the animals. Come on now.
It is not, but it is much more fun. Watering in the early game, before you can build sprinklers, watering your plants is the most miserable activity ever. You pray for rain every day.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Because I'm only in the fall of the first year, and you wake up at 6 a.m. in game.
Yep.
And by the time I'm done watering and taking care of the animals, it's like 10:30.
Yep. You can't
4.5 hours.
You can't
of just
do anything. You're like, I guess I better go talk to people now.
Yep.
But No, Stardew Valley, released in 2016, co-op added in 2020. There was multiplayer online before there was local co-op for a while, I believe.
Yeah.
But, developed by Concerned Ape, as he's known on Twitter, and published
Such a great story.
And published by Chucklefish.
Of
Tiny Metal and Wargroove fame. That's right.
Yes.
Because I think what I was reading is he brought them on to help with the online multiplayer. Because he's like, fuck, I'm not doing this.
Well, he did everything else. Like, he made the game engine. Yep. He did all the art.
All the music, I believe. Or maybe somebody else did the music, but he did like almost all of it. And for those who don't know, like, Stardew Valley, basically, in my humble opinion, as somebody who's played like 2 Harvest Moon games, the best Harvest Moon clone I've ever played. Bar none.
I think there are a lot of people who would agree with you.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's just so addictive.
Yeah. I mean, I just started it. I picked it up on the Steam sale, and I've only played single player so far, but I just started it, and Friday, I think I started it, and here we are 2 days later, and it says I have 15 hours in the game, and I'm just like,
oops,
what the heck happened?
It's just so good. It's so simple, so good. The game loop is like incredibly satisfying, especially in the early game, because you have to be very focused on everything you're doing to not waste time. Like later on, you do get a lot of stuff that automates like basically everything, like feeding your animals, like collecting eggs, getting milk, watering your plants. But in the beginning, when you're in the fucking Stone Age, you have to do all of this by yourself. So it's very easy to lose track of time when you're like, all right, if I wake up tomorrow, I can get some eggs and make some mayonnaise, and then I could sell that mayonnaise, and then I have enough money to upgrade my pickaxe to a steel pickaxe, which I've been wanting for a while, so I could finally start mining gold. And then when I'm mining gold, like, it never ends. It never ends. But it's all very well put together. It's like very well organized, and doing it in co-op honestly makes it that much more fun, because if you're not like us, you'll equitably split the tasks as necessary, and you'll actually like get things done like much quicker. Like having watched somebody play single player and how far they got in like a year, and then playing it co-op and getting to that same point in like half the time, I'm like, oh yeah, this game was meant to be played with other people. Like, like it really is like so much more efficient. The only problem is you then have to organize a farm with someone. And I'm not saying this was my experience, but sometimes people just don't know the most effective layouts for things and how they should be employed.
That must have been awful for you, Arnie.
Do you want it to be efficient, or do you want it to be pretty?
That's the thing. Is listen, do the barn, the chicken coop, and the horse stable all need to be directly next to the house? No. It's ugly as sin. Is it much better for me when I don't have to walk halfway across the screen to pet my cow? Yes. But I got really into Stardew Valley Reddit. Best place. They tell you they teach you all the tricks, and then half of it is just like, here's my farm layout, and it's like some guy who must be like 500 hours into this game, who's like color coordinated every piece. Here's like, oh yeah, I've made a tea room, and it's like just a room with a table and like all the little food ingredients like all organized into their own color coded chests and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god,
wow.
I'll never achieve something this beautiful in my life.
No,
but I can
like
bear
all the
witness
admiration
to it.
in the world.
Yeah, which is what's important.
There's
So, as someone who's never played it,
yes,
what does the local co-op look like? Do you share a screen or is it split screen?
Split screen.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Split screen.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah. Yep. It's split screen, so you can go do whatever you want. You can be on a completely the other side of the map, and it does not matter.
Oh.
So yeah, no, they did a very good job of it as far as like organizing everything and setting it up. And I think they also added the ability to just move stuff, because there was stuff that like once you put it, like when you start your farm, there's like a TV and a fridge and stuff. And I think some of that you can like reorganize now where you could not before. So they've added a lot of customizability in terms of like how you want your house to look, how you want your farm to look, how do you want to organize like all your different materials. It's like just, it's your playground. You do it. And there's also a social aspect to it where you can talk to people and marry people. You can completely ignore all those people if you want to. You never have to interact with anyone except the guy who sells you seeds, if you so choose.
Yes.
But then you can't participate in the Reddit husbando and waifu talk, which is a crying shame. I don't know if Kelly has a favorite yet, but there are several people.
I don't know. Dimitri looks pretty smart, so I'm kind of going towards him. But
and like some of the backstories are like wild. Like there's a guy who's like a recovering alcoholic or drug addict or something.
Oh wow!
There's a guy who came back from the war, clearly has PTSD. Like there's
poor Rambo.
There's an alien at one point that you meet. He's my favorite. Awesome. But you know, you can choose to like be as engaged in all that as you want. You could be a hermit up in your farm for the entire game, or you could build a thriving social scene with many, many different friends. Yes.
Question.
Yes.
If you've committed yourself to local co-op, can you then load that farm by yourself and change all the design choices that your partner made while they're not in the room?
I believe you can, yes.
Fight,
divorce, here we come.
Yeah. Because when you load up the farm, it's not like separated into, like if you start a single player farm, I don't think you can play co-op on it. But if you start a co-op farm, I think either one of you can join, and then if the other person wants to jump in at any time, they can.
I see. Yeah. Oh boy, that's...
But God help you if the person you're playing with notices that it's a different day from the last time that you played the game together. Because if you spent a whole day not watering the plants, not petting your animals, not milking cows and collecting eggs, and instead spent the whole day redecorating the entire house, they might be very upset with you.
Well, it's because it's very much there's time management too.
Yeah.
If you don't water your plants, they won't grow and it'll take an extra day. And if it goes into another season, you may not get that last harvest before all the plants just fall over dead overnight.
Yep.
Which I did not realize in the first month. So here I am happily, planting seeds on the last day of spring, and then they're all dead the next day.
Oh, and winter I think just kills everything.
Yes.
Can you get game overed then?
No.
Man.
You can't
just have
really
to start
lose.
over.
It's just like there's a story for story's sake. Like the objective, insofar as there is one, is like you inherit like your grandfather's farm, I think, and then in 3 years he because he dies, but then in 3 years his ghost comes to visit you and he's like, you did a good job. And then he leaves. Or
Arnie,
he's like,
spoiled
you suck.
the game for me.
Sorry.
Spoiler cast.
No reason to play anymore.
It's so funny though when on the Discord chat.
No, there's more. You can like leave the island you're on and stuff. There's like a whole bunch of shit.
But like on the Discord chat when Kelly said, "Oh, I just picked up Stardew Valley," everybody was like, "Bye. Nice knowing you.
Done.
Yeah,
take care."
This is the thing, is like people are like, "Oh, how do you play all these RPGs? Like, how do you put so much time into it?" The normal Stardew Valley person has probably played like no less than like 250 hours.
Yeah.
Like there's like putting 100 hours into this game is probably like the first 2 years, maybe.
Man.
Sign me up.
I know it's so fun though.
I'm looking at Anthony and I'm like, I don't know.
Because when I hear these things, I'm like, I mean, I love it. I love the idea. I love the whole concept. I think of Han. I'm like, I wonder if she would want to do this.
She would love it.
Yeah.
I think she would. She likes Animal Crossing, right? Has she played that?
Well, that's the thing. We had gotten Animal Crossing because last year when we went on this trip with her friends, they were all playing Animal Crossing. So when I came home, I was like, all right, let me see if I can pick this up. This would be fun for us to do, kind of thing. She's played it like twice. You know, she loved it, but it was just kind of okay, I played it. It was cool.
Yeah.
This is way more involved, so I wonder if I could kind of
Well, this one
her.
is less of a commitment because if I'm not mistaken, Animal Crossing is in real time.
Yeah.
So you have to if you want to do stuff in the morning, you have to play it in the morning. This does not do any of that.
So
shit.
it freezes when you're playing.
It freezes everything
nothing.
when you leave.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll definitely give it a
You don't
whirl.
have to commit. You don't have to wake up at midnight to be like, I want to
Can you
catch
imagine?
jellyfish or something.
Wake up. Come on. Go get go do the stuff. Go pet the animals.
You gotta get the turnips. Yeah, no. Stardew Valley is it's very much like, here's a game that we put together. You just do whatever you want with it. Here you go. There's no direction. Honestly, at a certain point, you don't even have to farm. You can get enough money from doing other stuff that you don't have to farm if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to fish all day and just get your money that way, you can fish all day.
Do that. You can get gems and sell those.
Someone was in the mines all the time, huh?
Well, listen. I was doing the Lord's
Did you get to the
work.
bottom?
Yes, I did make it to the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Making sure.
Yep, I did make it to the bottom. And then you unlock the desert mine, which I believe has no bottom. It's just you have to see how deep you can go in a single day. That was not fun. The monsters there are very strong and they kill you immediately. But yeah, Stardew Valley. Play it. Play it with somebody else. Don't play by yourself, because nobody will be able to pull you out if you do that.
Well, I'm lost.
Yeah, you're
guys.
done. You're screwed.
I'm screwed forever. All right, Arnie, I think we have time for one more.
One more. I got 4 more games on here.
One more.
Okay. Quick shout out to Halo 3 for being awesome. Quick shout out to Resident Evil 5 for having Chris Redfield punch a boulder to death. Quick shout out to Army of Two for being a game about bros just shooting other people.
Yeah.
Fellas, is it okay to drop into an active war zone?
Why not?
I'm going to talk about Vampire Knight then, because that's fun and interesting, and people like that. Have anybody play Vampire Knight?
No.
I've seen my husband play it multiple times.
Anybody play House of the Dead?
Yeah, no, I remember. I have Vampire Knight. I picked that up.
It has vampires in it instead
of
Yeah. So in Vampire Knight, you play as Michel and Albert, 2 vampire hunting bros who find a 12-year-old girl in a village in France and are like, come with us, kid. And then you just shoot a bunch of vampires in the face. It's really fun. The dialogue is about on par with House of the Dead.
Yeah.
They spared no expense in making it as bad as possible. There's this trilogy of PS2 light gun games. There's House of the Dead, and then there's a ninja one that I forget what the fuck it's called.
Yes.
But that's also a Guncon game, and it also looks terrible, but I desperately want to play it.
Yeah, damn, that you got me thinking. I think I have that one too, because the PS2 had this pocket where they were just releasing all these Sega light gun games, or Namco in that case, right?
Yeah.
I think Vampire Knight was Sega, right?
It was Namco.
Oh, it was Namco. Okay, but they were just releasing all these games, and I remember wanting to have them all because I needed to.
Oh, sorry, it was Capcom. I lied.
Which one?
Vampire Knight.
Oh, okay. But it validated me having the Guncons though. I needed more games to play with this stuff. So yeah, Vampire Knight was one of them. I think Virtua Cop was supposed to. There was a collection that was supposed to come in the US and never got released. So I was waiting for that thing to come out. But yeah, Vampire Knight, man, it was that was right there when all those arcade games were getting ported over and perfect. In perfect translation, and those gun games were the best.
There was nothing. I remember playing this game. I played it a bunch of times with a friend using the DualShock when we didn't have the Guncons. Garbage. throw it out.
Yeah, no, it's
but with the Guncon, my God, it is like a full body experience. You're yelling, you're ducking, you're shooting, you're reloading. You just have to stand up for that game. Like, you can't just be on your couch like bam, bam, bam.
It doesn't work.
You have to get up and, like, you know, you gotta like dodge and you gotta really get into it. And that's why I loved it, because when you have the right person to play with, you're both in it. You do some cool vampire hunter shit. You don't shoot that innocent pedestrian that'll cost you a life. You feel you've never felt cooler in your life. You whip on some sunglasses like CSI Miami guy.
Man, light gun games and co-op, it's too bad like it's become more and more difficult over the years to actually play light gun games, because like you're right, man, they are great co-op games. Like I remember playing Virtua Cop 2 or Virtua Cop 2, both of them really, 2 players. We didn't do the standing up. What we used to do is we used to kneel in front of the coffee table and put our elbows on the coffee table, holding the guns for stability. And it felt like we were, you know, behind cover. That's right. It was really cool.
It's dope. Yeah. And if you're looking for something more competitive, I know PS1 has some point blank games. I think PS2 has one as well. And those are amazing. Not co-op.
They're the best ones. Yeah. They're the best ones. Like, at least in my opinion, I don't think it gets better than Point Blank. Like, House of the Dead, Vampire Night also sounds really good, but they're kind of good for different reasons. I shouldn't say it doesn't get better than Point Blank. Yeah. It really is apples and oranges. But it's cool to have like a competitive gun game available like that.
It basically takes, for me, like the peak of my co-opness was the 360. Like Gears, Halo, Army of Two, like all that stuff. I was playing it all the time with my friends. But the immersion you get from actually holding a gun controller and shooting at things is like the next level above that. And like Paul said, it's a real shame that we don't. I really want to get the PS4, like the PS4 Move sort of gun attachment that they have, that you can use in a couple VR games, like Farpoint, I think is one.
Oh yeah.
Like, I really want it, because apparently it's like 1-to-1. It's like very good at tracking motion. And I know I also have on the PS3 they did like a Time Crisis
Collection
3 release.
Oh yeah.
Or Time Crisis 4.
Yeah.
Which I've also been dying to play.
Yeah, I
don't have the freaking attachment.
I played that with the Move controller, because it kind of lines up with the camera. And it's the far cheaper way to go about it, because you can find time. I think it's Time Crisis 4 that comes with but it's like a Bluetooth kind of sensor that connects to the gun, because it's like wireless. They try to make it all wireless and stuff. And I had read it's pretty expensive to try to get, especially now, but
I'm sure
it wasn't as accurate as the Move controller with the camera. So that's as close as it gets, and that's probably, I mean, it's really PS3 level, you know. Farpoint, like you said, Farpoint for the VR, that's a sick game. It's fun, but they didn't really they didn't do enough with that, though. They could have really done more light gun games, but you know, light gun games, man, they're so much fun, but they just get so pushed to the side as like just simplistic and tacky, but it's so much fun, man. It's
God damn it, Sony.
Yeah.
If I did a commercial for Sony, it would be Sony. They didn't do enough with that.
Yeah.
God, you just gave me flashbacks of what's that 6-axis dragon game? That was
Lair.
Like, Lair, that's right. Oh god.
Yeah.
That game is cursed.
Sure is.
But that's what it is. They're like, oh, we're going to introduce this cool technology. Here's the roughest, like, worst first draft version of that. I'm never going to talk about this ever again.
God.
Man.
But yeah, no. Light gun games, man. It's the real deal. And I wish that I wish there was an affordable way to do that didn't make me look insane. Because I don't know if you remember hooking up the Guncon to the PS2. It added like 3 extra wires. Like if you had 2 Guncons, I hope you weren't in a room of your house that people needed to walk through.
Well, it was like a splitter for the video that you pop in,
that's
and
right.
then you can plug the 2 Guncons to each side of it or something. And
oh my god, I just a nightmare. But it was better than what I have now, which is absolutely nothing.
Nothing but memories.
That's right. So I highly encourage you all to go on YouTube and look up cutscenes from Vampire Knight for a good time.
Oh, I will.
I have to load it up again just to remember everything that happens in that game.
Oh, God.
Oh, Arnie,
you don't need to know anything that happens in that game.
Oh, come on. That's the best part, you know?
Before I close out here with Vampire Knight, because I think Paul would enjoy this, I was looking on the Wikipedia page for it. Shockingly short Wikipedia entry. But I came across this in the reception section. It said, on release, Famitsu Magazine scored the PlayStation 2 version of the game a 32 out of 40, which already much higher than I expected.
Sure.
Followed up with this sentence. IGN gave Vampire Knight a 7.3, stating that the game was, in quotations, good.
Hard-hitting journalism. IGN bringing the heat.
Can't imagine cracking open a fresh IGN magazine to see just nothing in that column. Good.
Good.
And a 7.3.
I actually like it. At least it's short and to the point.
I mean, you know what you're getting.
At least.
Right? You know what you're getting.
Yeah, fair
Yes.
enough.
Is it good? Is it bad? No, it's good. Okay, go.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Nice.
Also, the cover for it on PS2, one of my favorite worst covers ever.
Man, I gotta look this up.
Look it up right now. I could only.
I won't be looking it
describe
up right now.
as,
We're running out of time.
Two adult anime men in black trench coats pointing guns at you.
Yep, that's it. Also, Arnie, the other game, Ninja Assault, that was the other one.
Ninja Assault.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Assault.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds so good too.
Yeah,
God damn.
I think a lot of these though, some of these they're Namco releases, but they were Sega published or something. I forgot. Sega's involved in this though, in these games.
Oh no, it is Namco.
Yeah.
I fucked up.
Oh, okay.
Delete that part where I said it wasn't Namco, and keep this part where I said it was Namco.
I'll be keeping both of them actually.
But yeah, that's one of the days, man. It's funny. It's crazy that they even released these games on the PS2 at the time because it just wasn't happening, right? Like this wasn't a thing really, but they did. They dropped them.
No, at this point they were like, yeah, this is we've achieved like arcade perfection. Time to put it on the PlayStation 2.
All right. Well, thanks for closing us out with that. That's about it for us here today. You can always find us. We would love to hear from you guys. You can find us on Instagram at Region Free Gamers Podcast, or you can come yell at me about talking about Game Pass too much on Twitter at Region Free Gamer.
There you go.
Also, if you would love to support us, we would love that as well. We do have a Patreon. We would love to get you on our Discord and start talking to you if you're a Patreon as well. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.